Hey there, welcome to Things Dan's Way. So in this video today, we are going to answer the question, is this DYU A1F electric bike worth $400 or not? I spent the past 6 weeks testing this bike in a variety of situations, both on-road and off, to see how well it holds up. I spent hours testing it on road to see how far it can go without pedaling, and I've ridden it miles off-road to find out if it can hold up to some simple trail rides you'll find while out camping. I'm going to give you an honest opinion versus a fanboy one about whether you should get this bike or perhaps look somewhere else. So don't go away, this is Doing Things Dan's Way. So there are many videos out there showing glamour shots of this bike and fancy environments with sexy people. So in this video, my goal is to show you realistically what the good, bad, and the ugly thing is about this bike, and ultimately, is it worth 400 bucks? So first off, right out of the box, this thing sets up really quickly. As you can see here in this kind of hyperlapse, you just pull this thing out of the box. There is no true assembly except putting the pedals on. That was the last step of the assembly. Everything else was just removing all the packaging material off of it that kept it really secure during packaging. I'm really impressed with how well they packaged this up. Okay, so this thing is a folding and unfolding bike. What does that really mean? How hard is it? It really is that simple. This mechanism here is what collapses down the handlebars, and you just push out on it. That pops loose. You have to put the wire to the left of it, and then this drops all the way down, like all the way down flat like that. That easy. Okay, next step would be, let's say you push in and fold flat the pedals. That way things fold up together and it can lay nice and flat. We're going to take the seat here, drop it all the way down, lock it in place. Don't need that. And then the latch mechanism for the fold is on this side. Okay, so spinning it around on this side, there's this little cover to protect you from that little button right there. Put your fingers under here and on top and give it a pop, and it kind of breaks loose. And now we can just take the whole thing and fold it in half. Here you can see the connectors to the battery. So this section holds the battery. This section here is the controller. And so power goes from here over to here. It's that simple to collapse it down. So I can fold it up here. And so you end up with this package. Now this weighs 48 pounds total. And so depending on how strong you are, that's no big deal or not. You can pick it up and put it in the back of your car. You can see the overall measurements of this. I'll stick it up on the screen. And it's not going to fill up anyone's trunk. And then setup is just exactly the opposite. Okay, just to show you how fast we can fold this down and throw it in the back of the car, let's just show you. That's it. So on the controls, you press and hold M, a couple seconds, it flashes and then it boots up. And now it's showing power, showing the battery level, which is right now 5 bars, and then the assist level. So we can go low, medium, or high assist. Okay, next let's talk about power. Now this unit has a claimed power of 250 watts continuous and 350 watts peak. Now if you compare this to other bikes, you can get bikes with 500, 750, 1,000, 1,200 watts. So what this bike is not is a bike that's going to run you up hills while you're pedaling backwards. If you want a bike that basically is a scooter, that you don't have to pedal, that you have no interest in actually pedaling ever, if that's really what your use case is, this is not the bike. What you want to get is one of the more powerful ones, and DYU does sell some more powerful bikes and the full-size mountain bikes. They have a whole family of bikes actually, but this is definitely not the bike for you. You're going to want something with at least 500 watts, if not more like 750. What this does have is 250 watts and pretty decent range. So let's just talk about range if you're not pedaling. If you're just riding all over the place and you're not going up any serious hills, you can ride for nearly 15 miles on this in my experience. It took a couple of hours to kill the battery. It took forever, kind of. So after a couple of hours of riding just on the throttle, I finally killed the battery, and yeah, it added up, as you can see here on all trails, to just shy of 15 miles. And so, okay, that was impressive. Now, of course, if I was pedaling, and I wanted to so often, you just kind of want to pedal. You know, when you're going up a hill, this thing can go up hills that are in the 3% range on pure throttle mode and still have, like, you know, decent speed. Of course, when you get to 4 or 5%, it slows way down. And so that's just natural. And 4 or 5% is a decent little hill. But again, it's a bike. If you just add even the slightest little pedal energy to it, then it feels like you're right back up to full speed again, and it doesn't feel like you're working. The throttle in maximum boost mode is easier than riding a bike that weighs nothing. It is pushing you along. And then let's talk for a second about going up really, really steep hills. So my driveway starts off at 5 or 6 degrees, and it goes up, it peaks at the top at 12 degrees up. It is a hill. I have to take my trash up that hill. But as you can see here, okay, I can ride up the hill for the first part just coasting, then I have to pedal, and then I have to get off and actually stand up and pedal hard with full throttle to get to the top of this hill. And I'm winded at the top of the hill. Like that's a lot of hill for maybe 400 feet run. So are you gonna go up any kind of crazy steep hills with this thing? No, you're not. But any normal hill, okay, it's gonna be perfectly fine as long as you're still pedaling. And so again, if you want a bike that you don't have to pedal at all, not your bike. If you don't mind actually pedaling your bike a little bit and enjoying the ride aspect of riding a bike, then this is great. And if I can go 15 miles on it with no pedaling at all, I have no problem at all believing the claims on the website of like 30 plus miles of riding with pedaling in assist mode, especially if you're in low assist mode, but even on high. So let's talk about full speed for a minute. So when you're riding this thing in cruise mode, you're gonna be looking at like 13.5 miles per hour. I use an app to kind of measure my speed, and yeah, 13.5 seemed about right on flat ground, just rolling along in full throttle. Of course, if you want to pedal, you can pedal all the fast you want, and it'll keep adding power as you're pedaling. So you can go really fast, no problem. So 13.5 miles an hour, again, some bikes can do as many as 20, 25 miles an hour, and this bike is just in cruise mode. And this bike is not that bike. It'll do 13 and a half. If you're gonna have younger ones riding the bike, or if you're older and a little more tepid of a pace feels better for you, perfect. If you wanna go like bombing down a road somewhere, this is, again, it's not that bike. So before we move into the on-road experience, if this video has been helpful for you so far, it'd be great if you would scroll down and hit the thumbs up button. Even subscribe if you want to see more. I've got an off-road version of riding this bike off-road. There's a whole video just dedicated to that because that was a blast. But hit those up, and let's move into talking about the riding experience. So riding experience, what is this bike like to actually ride? I would say the seat is comfortable, and of course it's standard, so you can replace it with something else. I like the size and the form factor of it. Of course, it's all adjustable. The height of steering is adjustable, the height of the seat's adjustable. Right now, it's in a very comfortable position. I can flat foot the ground, which is not ideal if you're gonna try and pedal a long distance. You wanna be really flat foot when at full extension. But this is an adjustable bike. If you're gonna go on a long ride, adjust it to fit. It's just that simple. 16-inch wheels, some may say that that's too big, some may say that's too small. I would say this is about as big a wheel as you can get on a collapsible bike. The fact that this folds up into be such a small package, you can see how, a teeny little trunk that the C-Max has, you can see how well it fit in there with a 50-pound sack of chicken food for my chickens. It can fit in any car space. The other thing I liked about this, just in terms of it being small, is when I've walked around, I've taken it to a store, and I've walked around, just like this at a store with it, and because it's not a full-size bike, no one's blinked. If anything, I've had people stop me and ask, what is that? Is that an electric bike? They've asked questions about it. It's been a curiosity piece. I don't feel like I've had to lock this up outside of a store just because it is compact enough to not feel like I'm like walking through a store with a 10-speed or a mountain bike that's muddy or something like that. I've had people even in the parking lot randomly walk up to me and ask me about the bike and how to find, how to buy one. As far as riding on the street, down busy streets and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter from a car perspective what size bike you're riding. This isn't like a little teeny little like mini motorcycle, and it's not some big mountain bike but from a car's perspective, looking at someone riding this, it doesn't look all that small. The stance is still full size. It may not have quite the length or the size of tire. A seating height, especially if you have it higher, that's very normal, is perfectly fine. So let's talk about off-road riding experience for a minute. So this is clearly not a mountain bike, not in a million years. But can it go off-road? Yes. Now I do have a video up here, I'll link, where I have a whole full-length video worth of content just to show what this thing is capable of, and really actually how much fun it really was on trails. Now, this does not do well in deep sand. It does not do well with any kind of real rocks or bouldering or any kind of what you would think mountain bike off-roading. But think about any kind of walking trail, any kind of a pathway that's dirt, that's uneven, through, as you can see here, just riding through a meadow on a walking trail kind of thing. There's several trails around here. This bike is more than enough to accomplish. And okay, yeah, a couple spots I had to stop and just walk it over because I didn't want to beat it up. Yeah, no, it really can, especially for a campground, and if maybe there's a little side trail or something. You can definitely take this on a trail like that. In that case, I would just lower the seat down even further so you have even more of a stable, footing, and use it somewhat as in a kind of scooter mode, if you will. But you can still pedal along, you can still ride, and still enjoy yourself, and go and see a lot more than you would by just walking. A bike like this, when I'm out camping, instead of dragging my big full-size bike with us, if we're doing tent camping, this would still fit in the car. No, it's not a mountain bike, but definitely it can ride on trails. So back to the big question, which is this bike worth $400? If you've been shopping around and looking at some of the different options that are out there, you can definitely find bikes at every single price point, especially when you get to the $1,000 range. Around $1,000, you can buy a lot of bike. There's a lot of variety in the bikes that are up there at that price. But if $500 is a stretch and $400 is more reasonable, this bike kind of fills in a sweet spot. If you need to commute with it, again, it's small, it can fold down. I could imagine taking this on a bus if I had to, rolling it up, collapsing it down and just carrying it on, or collapsing it like on a train or a subway, collapsing it down and putting it in the seat next to you. It is small enough to accomplish that kind of role versus other ones that may be really small, but they don't fold. And so you're still left with something that's 3 feet long with little 8-inch tires or something. So is it worth it? Yes, for I would say a lot of use cases. Certainly not all, not even close. Buying a bike like this is like buying a car. Every single user has a different way they want to use it, and expectations and price points and quality levels and all those good things. I don't have a problem with the quality of the build construction of this. It is solid. I've had to adjust one little screw on that little closing mechanism. Otherwise, everything is quick release, quickly adjustable, and it even comes with a nice little tool. Now, I will mention that the pictures you'll see of this online include this little hanging basket that goes on the front here. I just can't bring myself to use this. It's not a great addition. It's not being used. But I will say they have basket options for the back. So this back is nice, it's robust, it looks really strong, but it's just a flat surface. And so they do have baskets that you can bolt to this over the DYU website, and so that's an option as well. Now, if you look at the DYU website, you will find this A1F, of course, and they do have sales fairly often. And so you can click my link below and that will give you a coupon code. If you want something even smaller than this, or if you want something larger, they do have a whole variety of bikes. So for a slightly smaller bike, it's a 5-pound lighter bike. The C3 version of this bike with 14-inch tires is 45 pounds instead of like 48 pounds. For an even smaller or lighter bike, you can consider their D3F, which is a 14-inch bike that's only 38 pounds. If you want a sexier, like multi-purpose bike and also a removable battery, that would be the T1. And the last two is a 26-inch city bike they have, which is the C6. That one has like full 26-inch tires. And then they also have a 26-inch fat tire version called the C1. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this helped you make a decision about whether you wanted to buy this bike or not. Again, in the description down below is a link to the DYU website and this bike specifically, as well as you can use my coupon code on anything at the website. You can hit these videos here for other reviews on this bike and others. And of course, you can smash on my face to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you appreciated and learned something about this bike and you're gonna make a decision. Hit everything in the description down below. And until next time, guys, be blessed.